I am standing at the edge of the 17th century.
Before me lies London, not as a timeless idea, but as a specific, fragile, and living entity.
In the late summer of 1666, this is the city on the brink.
It has survived plague, political war, and fire before,
but it has never been so vulnerable,
so dense, so ready to burn. Over the next minutes, I will walk its vanished streets, not as a character from the past, but as your guide. We will witness the culmination of centuries of history, the 4 days that would erase its medieval face, and the astonishing resilience that began in the ashes. What you will see is a reconstruction based on maps, diaries, architectural records, and the collective work of historians of visual hypothesis of a lost world, presented not as fantasy, but as a window into a pivotal moment. We find ourselves in late August,
a year after the Great Plague has swept away nearly a quarter of London's people.
The city is a paradox, diminished in population, yet throbbing with a tense energy.
With a total of perhaps 400,000 souls, it is the largest city in Britain and one of the biggest in Europe,
but its ancient heart is a cramped and overcrowded island.
The great expanse of modern London does not exist. Instead, there is the city, the square mile contained by the old Roman wall, and a sprawling ring of suburbs that have pushed beyond it.
My point of entry is from the south, crossing the Thames by the only bridge.
London Bridge is not merely a crossing.
It is a street unto itself, a teetering canyon of multi-story houses and shops built directly on its spine, their jettied upper floors leaning so close they almost blot out the sky. The air here is a complex tapestry, the muddy scent of the tidal river, the tang of fish and tar from the wharves, the distant smell of baking bread, and beneath it all, a lingering,
faint sweetness that no one wishes to name, the memory of the plague year. As I step off the bridge and pass through the stone gate, the city proper closes around me.
This is where we must understand the stage upon which the drama will unfold. The street plan is medieval, a tangled web of narrow, winding lanes and alleys, following routes laid down by Saxon and Norman feet.
To call it organic is generous. It is a haphazard, congested warren.
The buildings are my constant companions, leaning in from both sides. The dominant building style is the timber-framed house, its wooden skeleton filled with wattle and daub.
But the most dangerous feature is the jetty.
Each successive upper floor projects out over the street below, a clever way to maximize interior space on a small plot of land. The effect, however, is claustrophobic and perilous.
On these narrow lanes, the jetties of opposite houses lean so close they are said to all but meet overhead, turning the streets below into wooden tunnels.
This is not just an aesthetic. It is a fire hazard of the highest order, a fact recognized but largely ignored by the authorities. The city is a hierarchy written in brick, wood, and space.
We make our way toward its commercial heart.
In the wealthy center, around Cheapside and Cornhill, the homes of merchants and brokers stand with more space, some even built of brick.
Cheapside is the vibrant high street, where the great conduit, a public fountain, channels water from springs to the west. But this relative order gives way quickly. In the inner ring of parishes, every available inch is built upon.
Here, in the crowded tenements, craftsmen, laborers, and their families live and work in the same flammable structures. Workshops for tailors, chandlers making candles, coopers shaping barrels. Each home is also a storehouse for the materials of trade: pitch, hemp, oil, and timber. The riverfront to our south is a particular tinder box, a jumble of wooden sheds and tenements crammed with ship stores, next to the homes of the poor. The atmosphere is one of both routine and underlying strain.
The bells of the city's 87 parish churches mark the hours.
The open-air trading piazza of the Royal Exchange on Cornhill emits what one contemporary called an incessant buzz, like the murmurs of a distant ocean, as merchants from across the globe seal deals. In coffee houses, a new phenomenon, men discuss business and politics. Yet, the shadow of the recent plague is long, and England is at war with the Dutch. Suspicion of foreigners is a low, constant hum in the background. The relationship between the city and the crown is tense. The city fathers, many of whom fought against the monarchy in the Civil War, are deeply wary of King Charles II and his desire for authority. This political friction will soon have catastrophic consequences. The tension between the old medieval city and its burgeoning modern self is palpable. And nowhere is this clash more visible than in the skyline. Dominating everything, atop Ludgate Hill, is the Cathedral of St. Paul's. But it is not the serene dome we know today. This is the old Gothic St. Paul's, a monumental forest of stone, flying buttresses, and pointed arches, crowned until recently by a towering spire. It is a building that has absorbed the life of the city into itself. Its nave is a public thoroughfare, a marketplace where people trade, talk, and even shoot arrows at the birds in the rafters. It is the proud ancient, crumbling heart of a city that is, in many ways,
already outgrowing its physical form. I move now through these streets in the deep night between Saturday the 1st and Sunday the 2nd of September.
The watchmen, the bellmen, patrol, looking for crime and for the ever-present danger of fire.
The city sleeps, but it is a fitful sleep.
The summer has been dry.
A persistent east wind has been blowing.
And in a bakery on Pudding Lane, a short street leading down to the river, the fire in Thomas Farriner's oven has not been properly dampened down.
Embers ignite nearby fuel.
The timeline of disaster is about to begin. It starts just after midnight.
The first flames lick at the bakery's interior.
The household awakens. They clamber to the roof of the neighboring house and escape, all but one maidservant too frightened to follow, who becomes the fire's first victim.
The parish bells begin to ring a muffled alarm.
The public-spirited citizens, the standard first responders to fire, begin to gather with leather buckets and long poles called firehooks. The Lord Mayor, Sir Thomas Bloodworth, is roused and arrives. He looks at the burning bakery, embedded in its row of wooden houses, and utters the words that will define his legacy: pish. A woman might piss it out. He returns to his bed.
This moment of fatal complacency is the first turning point. The standard technique to stop a spreading fire was demolition using hooks to pull down houses in its path to create a firebreak.
But Bloodworth hesitates. The legal and financial responsibility for the destroyed property would fall on him, and he balks. For critical hours, as the east wind fans the flames from Pudding Lane into Fish Street Hill, the opportunity to contain the blaze is lost.
By M on Sunday morning, 300 houses are gone, and the fire has reached the riverfront. There, it finds the warehouses stocked with oil, timber, and coal, and the stored goods ignite like a second sunrise. Sunday becomes a day of escalating crisis.
The river, which should be a source of salvation, becomes a scene of chaos. Londoners pile their most precious goods, beds, chests, virginals, rolls of cloth onto any boat they can find or hire at exorbitant rates.
The Thames becomes a clogged highway of panicked evacuation.
On land, the narrow streets, never designed for such traffic, become completely gridlocked. Carts loaded with belongings, families on foot, soldiers trying to move toward the blaze, all become stuck in an immovable jam.
The city's primitive water supply system is overwhelmed.
The elm pipes running under the streets are inadequate, and soon the fire destroys the water wheels under London Bridge that pump river water into the mains. The few clumsy-wheeled fire engines arrive too late and cannot get close enough to be of use.
By Monday the 3rd, the fire is a firestorm. It has marched westward, consuming Gracechurch Street and Lombard Street. It assaults the Royal Exchange. The statue-lined trading floor is filled with,
in John Evelyn's words, sheets of fire. The statues of English monarchs are sent crashing down from their niches, shattering on the ground below.
The fire continues its relentless march up toward Cheapside. People are now desperate. They dig into the earth around the great conduit, trying to puncture its lead pipes to flood the street, but it is hopeless. The order is finally given for large-scale demolitions, but the teams with firehooks and gunpowder are now working against a wall of heat and flame that outpaces them.
The wind has made the city itself a vast bellows, and now, the rumors begin to fly.
In the terror, people seek a human cause.
The French and the Dutch, England's enemies in the ongoing war, are blamed.
Mobs form and immigrants are attacked in the streets. The social order frays at the edges.
King Charles II and his brother James, Duke of York, take direct command, realizing the Lord Mayor is utterly overwhelmed.
They order troops into the city to help with demolition and keep order, but the mistrust between Crown and city runs so deep that their help is initially viewed with suspicion.
Tuesday the 4th brings the catastrophe to its awful zenith. The fire, having consumed the commercial heart, turns its attention to the symbolic one.
It surges up Ludgate Hill and surrounds St.
Paul's Cathedral. The building, thought to be a sanctuary of stone, is tragically vulnerable. Its roof is a vast expanse of timber, covered in lead. Scaffolding from long-delayed repairs surrounds it, acting as a giant kindling pile. The heat becomes unimaginable.
The lead roof melts.
Diarist John Evelyn watched in horror as the stones of Paul's flew like grenados, the melting lead running down the streets in a stream, and the very pavements glowing with fiery redness.
The great rose window explodes.
The mighty cathedral, which had stood for centuries, is gutted in a single day. That night, from a viewpoint outside Newgate,
the scene is one from an apocalypse. The silhouette of the ruined cathedral against a sky glowing orange, refugees streaming out of the city gates, and a pervasive sense of despair.
Yet, within this destruction,
the Fightback is finally gaining traction. The Duke of York is on the ground, coordinating teams.
The crucial strategic move is made at the Tower of London,
to prevent the fire from jumping the city wall and moving eastward toward the tower's store of some 600 tons of gunpowder.
The garrison uses controlled explosions of gunpowder to blast houses apart, creating a wide, effective firebreak. Simultaneously, the merciless east wind that had driven the flames for 3 days finally drops. The combination of human determination and a change in the weather turns the tide. By Wednesday, the 5th of September, the Great Fire is over. It has burned for just over 4 days. I walk now through the silence of Wednesday afternoon. 4/5 of the medieval city within the walls is gone. 13200 houses, 87 churches, 44 livery company halls, and countless other structures across roughly 373 acres. A fine gray ash covers everything like a ghastly snow. Smoldering timbers hiss. Stone walls, now hollow shells, stand like broken teeth against the sky. The air is acrid with the smell of wet charcoal and burnt pitch. Where there was deafening noise, there is now a stunned quiet, broken by the sound of rubble being shifted. The scale is incomprehensible. Perhaps 100,000 people are homeless, camping in fields like Moorfields to the north, or crowding into untouched suburbs. Remarkably, the verified death toll was recorded as very small, though modern historians rightly challenge this, knowing the poor and the lost would not have been counted in the immediate aftermath. The fear was not just of destitution, but of rebellion. King Charles II actively encouraged the homeless to settle in other towns, worried a mass of dispossessed and angry Londoners in one place could threaten his rule. But London would not be abandoned. Almost immediately, the thinking turned to rebuilding. This is where our story meets a fascinating road not taken. The blank slate of the city inspired radical visions. The great scientist and architect Christopher Wren and the diarist Evelyn both presented elaborate plans to the king. Their designs proposed sweeping away the old medieval warren and replacing it with a rational, continental-style city of wide boulevards, grand piazzas, and a street grid. They were magnificent visions of a modern metropolis, but they were rejected. The reason was not lack of imagination, but a powerful, pragmatic force: property rights. The citizens of London demanded to rebuild on the exact plots of land they had owned before the fire. The ancient, illogical property boundaries dictated the future. As a result, the medieval street plan you see in the city of London today is essentially the same one that existed before the fire, a fossilized imprint of the past that refused to be erased. The Rebuilding Act of 1667 did, however, mandate crucial changes. New houses must be built in brick or stone, streets were to be widened, and jetties were prohibited. The city would be reconstructed in a more fire-resistant form, but on its old, stubborn skeleton. So, what endures? Not the physical fabric of medieval London, save for a few fragments below our feet. What endures is the spirit of the place, its relentless commercial energy, and its complex identity. The fire did not destroy London. It forced a metamorphosis. Christopher Wren, though his grand plan was shelved, would still leave an indelible mark, rebuilding St. Paul's and 51 city churches, creating the distinctive dome and spires that would define the London skyline for centuries. The fire also led directly to the world's first fire insurance companies and a more organized approach to firefighting. As I stand here at the end of our journey, at the site where the Pudding Lane Bakery once stood, marked now only by a simple monument, the contrast is the point. The city of London today is a forest of glass and steel, a global financial hub. But if you look down, the curve of a lane, the unexpected angle of an alley, the name of a churchyard, these are the ghosts of 1666. The fire was an ending of colossal proportions, but it was not a full stop. It was a semicolon in the city's long story, a moment of terrifying pause before the next chapter was written, not on a blank page, but on a palimpsest where the old writing still shows through. The phoenix did not just rise from the ashes. It rebuilt its nest on the same familiar, tangled branches.